everyone, this is me, Miss Celia, and this is ABS English Academy. Today, we will learn something really cool about grammar, and the topic is, let's see it, passive voice. Yes, today we will learn about passive voice. And I know, in other videos we have learned something about the passive voice. You know that passive voice is used when the receiver now becomes the star in a sentence, and in this case the doer sometimes is not that important and can be included in this case as the object of the sentence. So we're going to change roles when we use the passive voice. So maybe you are wondering, okay, so when it's okay to use the passive voice? Well, first of all, we use the passive voice to emphasize that receiving the action, the receiver is more important. And of course, you can use the passive voice when you don't know or you don't want to mention who does the action. It's okay to use in those cases the passive voice. And of course, this is typically used, in science or sometimes in reporting in the news. So let's see now some structure and different tenses. Keep in mind the passive voice is like the active voice, but in the opposite. So in active voice, we have present simple, we have past simple, we have future, etc. In passive voice, we have the same. We have all of these, tenses, and we need to learn how to use them to become experts. So let's see the first one. Amazing. So the first tense we're going to hit today is present simple, but in passive voice. We usually use the present simple to talk about routines, to talk about states, to talk about personal information, your likes or dislikes. This is when we use present simple, and it's the same in the passive voice. We're going to use the present simple in the same scenarios, but the structure it's a little bit different. So let's see. First of all, you need a subject. So you decide who is the subject. Keep in mind that the subject is the receiver in an active sentence. And you can use something like a pronoun, maybe, or why not, my mom, your mom, the chef, your friends, my friends, a subject. Keep in mind that you need a subject. And after that, you need the verb be. The verb be, it's really important in passive voice. And in this case, it's present simple passive. So you're going to use the verb be in present simple. It means we have three conjugations to work for. We have, of course, am or am not, is or isn't, are or aren't. Why? I repeat it. This is present simple passive. So the verb be in present simple. Subject, verb be, and then we need the action, but the main action. And this main action should use the past participle. Yes, the third column. For example, we have known, made, completed, played, created, written. You decide an action, but always in PP, in past participle. And at the end, you need a complement. This is present simple, so you need a complement according to the present simple. We have some options here, like for, in, by, etc. You decide. Let's see one example. The chefs are known for their amazing dishes. The chefs are known by their amazing dishes. Can you see? Easy, right? Now, let's hit the next topic. Here we are again. This time, this passive voice is in another tense, past simple tense. You know what is past simple. Of course, past simple is something that started in the past and finished in the past. So it's a completed action in the past. This is past simple tense. It's the same here. We are still using past simple, but using the passive voice of this tense. So first of all, you need a subject, of course, a subject. And remember, the subject is the receiver of an inactive voice sentence. So you need a subject. You decide who is the person or what is the thing you're going to choose as the subject. For example, the sweaters, my cell phone, my house, etc. And after that, you need the verb be. Yes, the verb be. But remember, this is past simple passive voice. So we're going to use the verb be in past tense. Perfect. And we have two options, was and were. Was and were. All the negative options, wasn't or weren't. You decide. But keep in mind, you're going to use the correct conjugation according to the subject. For example, my cell phone was, my book was, the chef were, my blouse was, my car was, etc. So keep in mind, use the correct conjugation. Okay, what's next? Well, as usual, this is passive voice. You're going to need an action, but an action using the past participle. Again, it's passive. Passive, it's always with these past participle verbs. So you have some options, for example, made, built, created, written, etc. And then a complement, of course. Remember, in a complement, you can use something about the past because you're using the past simple tense here, like for, by, in. And don't forget, you can use by to mention, in this case, the doer. It's okay. For example, my cell phone was made in Japan by Japanese people. I suppose. I'm not sure, but this is a good example. Another one could be these sweaters were made in Ireland by Irish people. Of course, it's not a lot you have to follow, to add the by and then who was the doer. It's just up to you. You decide. Okay, that's it. Again, past simple passive voice, the subject, who is the receiver, then the verb be in past simple tense, was, were, wasn't, weren't, then PP, excellent, this is a verb in past participle, and finally a complement. You got it. Now let's hit the next part. Future simple. Yes, but using the passive voice. Again, what is future simple? Future simple is an activity that will happen in the future. So maybe it's not for your routine, it's not for the past, it's about the future. And here we are, but in this case, using the passive voice. Okay, first we need, the subject. And then, you have this amazing option for the future. You know which is it? Yeah, will. Excellent. Will for future, or the negative form, want. So we have will or want. Will, want. Keep in mind you can use will or want with all the, subjects you could imagine. My blouse will, my house will, my family will, my car will, she will, you decide. Ordinary option, want. But you need the verb be. And in this case, you're going to use it like that, be. My house will be. My house won't be. They will be. They won't be. Always will be or won't be. And then, yes, you need a main action. And this action is always exactly in PP, in past participle. So, for example, my house will be completed. Yeah, excellent. Or the match will be ended. Okay, so you have a lot of options there. Completed, made, created, written, etc. Always a verb in PP. And then a complement. For sure, don't forget to use a complement about the future because you're using this passive voice but in future. So keep in mind that. An example, the construction will be completed, done, will be completed by 2030. I know it's 2025. You have to wait 5 more years, but it's okay. The thing is that the construction will be completed. Keep in mind that. That's the goal. That's the important thing here. So now you have the full comprehension of this topic. Passive voice again. We use a passive voice, remember, to emphasize that receiving the action is more important. And of course, we use a passive voice if we don't know or we don't want to mention who does the action. So the receiver becomes the star in your sentence. This is the important thing. And of course, we can use the passive voice in different tenses. Like today we saw present simple, passive voice, past simple, passive voice, and future simple, passive voice. Okay, now you know, it's time to practice.